thank you for coming here today. It's a very important announcement for the Proud Boys. My name is Jacob Ingalls. I'm an investigative journalist. I've spent the past 2 years embedded in the group, trying to search for these allegations of racism, homophobia, Islamophobia, and quite frankly, I've found nothing but a great group of people who are patriots. They love their country, and it's really all about fellowship. And today marks the day where people are starting to fight back and will start to fight back against the slander, against the defamation, against the dehumanizing, the debanking, the censorship that's happening to this group. I'm not a member of the group. I do support the group and I support their free speech rights, and I think it's important for everyone to understand that political speech that you oppose is not hate speech. And for far too long, there's an organization that will be talked about in a second, has been used as a vehicle to systematically target, dehumanize, deplatform, debank, and censor groups like the Proud Boys. And they start with the Proud Boys, and they're going to end with the Republican Party, quite frankly, and anybody that supports Trump. So Enrique Tarrio, the chairman of the Proud Boys, is going to make a major announcement. Enrique, speak loud.
So we chose this location today to make our announcement for a reason. Right here is where the viral video of the Covington Catholic school kids was filmed. That video perfectly illustrates the situation where conservatives find themselves today. For the first week of when the video came out, the mainstream media gleefully played a doctored version of this footage. They said again and again it proved the nasty and racist nature of Trump supporters. But astute viewers could tell something was off. The Covington video turned out to be the greatest eye-opener of the year. We all know that is not the case of the evil white male oppressing everyone in earshot, but quite the opposite. It was a leftist mob run amok. And when the filter of the media was removed, everyone saw the ripoff they had been sold. The Proud Boys are used to these tactics being used against us. We're a drinking club that stands behind Donald Trump. That's enough to earn hate of the left. But the real reason they hate us is because we're fun. We enjoy ourselves and they can't stand it. We prove everything that they claim about the right wing to be wrong. A bunch of working class guys of every race coming together to love America wasn't supposed to happen. It doesn't fit with the media narratives. Our enemies, who are mostly privileged and white, had to invent a new term to describe us: multiracial white supremacists. To successfully slander the Proud Boys in such a blatantly false way requires more than being out of touch than with how normal people think. They need something to cite. They need a source to say, I didn't say they were monsters, this source said it. Don't sue me. I quote. This is something that the Southern Poverty Law Center Southern Poverty Law Center. So today, we're announcing that we're taking legal actions against the Southern Poverty Law Center, and we are going to win. The SPLC is the glue holding together all the media's lies used against us and many others. Dishonest reporters use the SPLC's designations and lists like they hold some official weight. But the SPLC isn't some kind of hate barometer. They are not a group of scientists measuring extremism. The SPLC is a far-left advocacy group that advances its own agenda in pursuit of donors' money. They don't care whose life they destroy as they rake in the dollars. The SPLC would have you believe all the activism is part of some noble mission to stop the KKK and wild Nazis in the streets. But since the real Nazis have proven hard to find, the SPLC targets mainstream conservative groups such as ourselves. Now that the SPL thinks that they've killed off the Proud Boys, they're moving to other groups. More mild-mannered conservatives are learning what it means to be censored. The latest batch of conservatives kicked off Facebook learned that speaking positively about our founder, Gavin McInnes, or the Proud Boys, was used to justify a lifetime ban. The SPLC is now attempting to draw connections between the wholesome conservative groups, Turning Point USA, and the alt-right. The SPLC isn't used to being challenged, and they think that they can silence all voices they don't like. To be fair, they have been rather successful at this. Our pushback begins today. We are law-abiding, proud American citizens. We won't be silenced in our country. We won't let it happen to other people like us. The SPLC's got one thing right about us. We like a good fight. This is our fight now.
Woo! Okay, we're going to move on to some testimonials from members of the group. We'll start with Harry Fox, Michigan State President. Harry.
Greetings. I'm putting myself at risk by speaking here today. Dozens of my brothers have been physically assaulted, lost their jobs, and jeopardized their family by simply being a member of the Proud Boys fraternal organization. Being a member in our organization means more than just belonging to a club. We take care and look out for each other. We help our brothers and their families when they are in need of help. We contribute to the communities we live in by donating food and money to homeless shelters and food banks. We donate to Toys for Tots as well as care packages to our military servicemen serving overseas. We're always thinking of new ways to help one another and our brothers and their families from chapters in our organization throughout the world. Social fraternities and men's clubs are nothing new. They have been around for centuries. Even political and religious ones are nothing new. The only reason we are getting singled out is that we protect people that the left had decided that is inappropriate to bully, silence, and physically attack. We've interviewed dozens of people in over 30 countries spanning 5 continents for membership in our fraternal organization. These are great people. They are fathers, brothers, neighbors, and outstanding citizens that love their countries and yearn for the freedom and brotherhood that the Proud Boys offer. These men are of every race and sexual orientation. We don't judge people by the color of their skin. Color of the skin or who they choose to sleep with. We care about the content of their character. Unfortunately, I can't mention a single one specifically, for if I do, I may jeopardize their livelihood and families, all because of the slanderous labels that the media and government officials have painted us as. The Southern Poverty Law Center is the source they use to make these labels appear to be legitimate. However, the SPLC is lying about us, as they have lied about many other organizations. This has to stop. We are here to set the record straight. We love the values that Western culture represents, and we refuse to apologize for simply existing and seeking brotherhood with people without regard of what race they are. We need all the help we can get from every freedom-loving person out there in order to fight back against those who are trying to slander, silence, deplatform, and deperson us. You can donate to our cause by visiting our website at stoptheslander.com, which is widely displayed right here. Thank you very much.
Before we move on to the next person that's going to speak, I think something that Harry said is very important to recognize and realize. As a journalist, when I announced that I was going to be delivering flowers at the Pulse Memorial last year, I received death threats. Threats of I'm going to beat you with a pipe, I'm going to rape you with a pipe, I'm going to do horrible things to your family for gathering conservative MAGA Trump supporters to go to the Pulse Memorial. And the one group that showed up and made sure that that didn't happen were the Proud Boys. Okay, so there's fellowship, there's brotherhood, and they really, really deeply care about one another, but also about the community. And I think that's a very good point Harry made. Nick Ox. Thank you.
How y'all doing? Nick Oakes, president of Proud Boys Hawaii. Proud Boys are a freedom-loving group, but we're also a proactive group. Yes, mainly we're a drinking club that stands behind the president, but we are not standing by as we get unpersoned. We are not going to let ourselves be pushed off the internet, out of business, and get slandered relentlessly by advocacy groups. The Southern Poverty Law Center does plenty to hurt their own reputation while trying to hurt other people's reputations. Yet SPLC recommendations are still used to silence conservative voices by complicit journalists and big tech companies. Many of these people know better when it comes to the factual content of what the SPLC claims, but they don't let that stop them from echoing these false claims. The Proud Boys were among the first to face online exile. Now even speaking our name can result in deplatforming. We are the canary in the coal mine, and regular people are beginning to question why a bunch of fun-loving working-class guys are being used to justify a new kind of massive censorship. This lawsuit will be a victory for more than just us. The SPLC is used to pushing around people who can't legally defend themselves. They just pushed too hard on the wrong men this time.
All right, next one up, Joshua Hall, Louisiana State President.
All right. In 2019, it became a crime to think, speak, or act differently from the general population and what they've been told. With two sides of the government fighting to subvert each other, they've used the general population to gain a base of support for radical ideals. Ideals that at one time would have been considered so fringe that people faced jail time over acts of committed violence against each other. It has become a crime in 2019 to be a man. Men are losing their jobs, their homes, their bank accounts, and their families, all while being attacked for loving the very nation that has given birth to that same extremism. All the hate we've received has been unwarranted. It has been propagated by the media and the left-wing radicals and politicians that want to subvert and silence those that they fear are a threat to their agenda. All of the men standing here today have had their lives and their livelihoods threatened because it does not fit the mainstream narrative. I'll give you an example. In 2017, Hurricane Harvey hit the coast of Texas hard. We had seen floods like no other state has seen in the history of flooding. Proud Boys decided that we needed to organize a relief effort. We converted my business warehouse into a point of distribution for water, food, clothing, and medical supplies, which we received and distributed to Good Samaritans as we organized search and rescue teams. Politics, race, and religion were never a topic of discussion. There was too much chaos going on to be fixated on something so trivial in the grand scheme of things. My first experience with the press, and doxing as it has become known, were pictures that are circulating around the internet of us carrying weapons in knee-high water, while the local militant communists took to Twitter and their blogs to claim that we were hunting black looters. Now let's stop and examine what I just said. They are assuming that all looters were black. The same day, we had a Swedish news team follow us around documenting every move that we had made. As I researched after the hurricane was over, none of which the American left, the Swedish stated. During this time, we were taking people to go get medical supplies from their homes, pulling people out of their homes and bringing them to higher ground, and being sent on priority 1 distress calls, only to arrive to someone's home that had recently passed due to drowning. If we're a terrible group of people and want to impose our fascist will on supposed anti-fascists and everyone else in this country, why would we risk our own lives to save complete strangers? We really don't, as much as we like to believe that we have freedom of the press, we really don't. Mega corporations and are controlled by the ivory tower liberals are the ones pulling the strings. And today is about fixing that. Thank you.
One more before we wrap up. Luke Rothling, Proud Boys elder, fellow journalist.
Well,
thank you guys for being here today. I mean, as you can tell from our bit of a setup here, we aren't some big, well-financed organization or anything in those regards. We're just a bunch of dudes who like to go out and have fun. We like to drink beer. We like to sometimes cause some shenanigans, and it's just a fun time. But groups like the Southern Poverty Law Center, because we don't conform with their far-left social justice agenda on everything, we aren't outwardly apologizing consistently for every so-called privilege they say we have growing up or throughout society or based on immutable characteristics. We don't do that. Instead, we just go on and we just have fun and we hang out with a bunch of, and we look a lot like America in that regard, where if you look throughout Middle America especially, and you're not in the coast, you're not in the Washington D.C.s or anywhere like that, people act like the Proud Boys act on most occasions. And it's people made up of all racial groups, all sexual orientations. We got all these different people. And having it here at the Lincoln Memorial on these steps is symbolic for a lot of reasons. Of course, you know, the Covington kids were slandered in a similar fashion to sort of what happened to us in a way, where these media giants go out and they say whatever they want about you, and they use the SPLC as some sort of a source as gospel to make that, and that's how they get away with it. And also, one of the other things that I was noticing when I was coming over here was we're right near some of the war memorials, like the Vietnam Memorial, and when people sit here and call us racist, they call us white nationalists, it's always hurtful, because these people we absolutely aren't, and these people, we have all these people of all different races, and these are people who, if you go over to that Vietnam Memorial, if you look at proportion of population, about half of the people on there were not white people. Those were people who fought for this country and fought and died for this country. And people acting like that we're a group who would say that those people don't have the same right to this country. It's absolutely despicable. And that's why we're fighting back. Thank you for being here.
We're going to have some closing remarks from Chairman Tarrio. And before we get to that, I think it's important to realize today marks a point of fighting back for people who are Proud Boys, for people who support Proud Boys, for people who support free speech and get unfairly tarnished and demonized by the SPLC. Their campaign of targeted harassment ends now. Enrique.
Hold on 1 second. This hot weather just destroys technology.
We're also taking this action because we aren't the first, but we want to be the last to experience deplatforming. We're not only doing this for ourselves. We're doing this for Alex Jones. We're doing this for Roger Stone. We're doing this for Laura Loomer. We're doing this for Milo Yiannopoulos. We're doing this for Gavin McInnes and all other conservatives that have gone through the same thing that we're going through right now. We're also looking at our options to take legal actions against Facebook, the Daily Beast, the BBC, Chase Bank, and Sean King. Help us preserve free speech. Go to stoptheslander.com to join the fight. The Proud Boys represent the little guys because we are the little guy. We are your everyday average Americans. We have plumbers, police officers, carpenters, union workers. We're from all walks of life when it comes to our families, our jobs, our friends. We're going up against a $500 million slander machine, and this won't be easy. And we need your help to get this done. StopTheSlander.com. Start today. Uhuru and proud of your boy.
You guys questions?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I'll do questions. I'll do Q&A personally with you guys.
Okay.
Get this out of the sun.
Since I'm live, do you mind hopping straight into Q&A?
There's some things that I can't answer, but
Yeah.
go ahead. Let's,
To the extent that you can answer it, Donald Trump has been retweeting, Paul Joseph Watson and Infowars trying to talk about. He hasn't kind of given an exact policy, but he started to talk a little bit about online censorship. Do you sort of have? Does that give you any kind of hope as it relates to your struggle?
It does give me some kind of hope. I hate using the word regulating because I think it's a word that, yeah, it's cool because for us, Donald Trump's in office. For all Americans, Donald Trump's in office. But who's to say after Donald Trump leaves office in 2024, you guys agree with that?
Yes.
After he leaves office in 2024, we might have a president that is going to go ahead and abuse of those regulations and maybe further our rights to free speech. These companies, something needs to get done. I don't know. I'm not a legislator, but I know something needs to get done. Because we didn't have this problem. We didn't have this problem back in 2016. Whatever side of the aisle you're on, you had a voice. Do you get me? If social media is such a powerful tool that Democrats say Russia interfered with an election, why aren't they fighting for American rights? Why aren't they behind Donald Trump on the censorship? Now they want to play the card where, it's a private company, they can do whatever they want.
And how do you sort of respond to that issue of it's a private company, so they have their own free speech, and that means deplatforming, sort of in defense of their own free speech?
If they're a private company, then we're contributing to their content, which makes us an employee.
They have to decide between being a publisher or a platform. Yes.
We're going to be talking about a lot of this on July 6th, where he's speaking in D.C.
I think all of us can agree, like, a death threat or threats of violence, you should probably get shut down on your Facebook account for actual threats of violence. But if I post some type of funny content, comedy or something like that, I get shut down for it. At this time, I've had personal friends of mine put pictures of me with no context behind it, just a picture of me, and they get banned 30 days.
On sort of a personal level, what does that do to you when I've heard this term like unpersoning, Laura Loomer has been talking about that a lot. Like, how does it sort of make you guys feel? How does it affect your day-to-day lives to be unpersoned?
It is unpersoned, and because it goes beyond just censorship on social media, because if it was just social media, we'd still be out here, but it's a lot more. I've lost my bank account to this because of my political views.
PayPal was shut down.
PayPal shut us down, and they sourced the SPLC as a reason to shut down people. And this isn't just like some hyperbole. This is the CEO of PayPal saying, hey, we're shutting down these accounts because they're on the SPLC's hate watch list.
In Louisiana, me and my VP right over here, who is clearly not a white guy, have been doxxed and publicly put all over the local news due to the fact that they have used Facebook, social media, the SPLC, all of these groups to, in a sense, unperson us and make us the boogeyman that we're not.
Do you guys have a copy of this complaint? Has this been filed yet?
We'll be giving that out to you guys, the media, in the next coming days.
Okay. And who's your lawyer?
And we'll be releasing that information in the coming days.
One more thing. What does the gorilla represent? Is that a new?
That's a dedication to Harambe.
Oh, okay.
So I gotta ask then, why is Harambe relevant to the issue?
Well, Harambe was relevant because it was actually one of the first memes that came out, and again, our group is about comedy and fun, and I think even left or right, like, you go ahead, and something that unites us isn't like, I could sit at a coffee shop with a liberal and we could scream at the top of each other's lungs. We're not going to change each other's mind, but something that does bring people together is comedy, a sense of humor. So that's why, to us, I put in there in like a serious press conference, I went ahead and I made a dedication to Harambe. May rest in peace. May his life live on.
The internet's a lot more boring without us.
Yes.
We're coming back.
Yeah.
Anyone else have anything to add before I shut this down?
Yeah, it's time to regulate. I'll use the word.
And we need as many Proud Boys as we can to run for office as well.